It's time for Takes on Takes, the episode where we offer our take on your take today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
I have a question for you, Joe Marino.
Yes.
Have you seen the Illinois leather helmets?
No.
Okay. I'm going to drop this in the chat. And anybody who's listening hasn't seen these, I highly recommend that you pull up your browser and Google the Illinois hand-painted leather helmets for this upcoming season. Joe, let me know your thoughts.
Oh, wow. Definitely different.
So they hand the helmets, it's a regular helmet, but it's painted to look as though it was actually a leather helmet from like the old school days. And I think they're dope.
I'm cool with this. This is very unique and it doesn't look bad. I'm down. I'm in on these.
Glad you're in. Because I was
fun.
like, ooh, I feel like people are going to love this or hate this.
Yeah.
I wonder what side of the fence Joe's going to land on. And we are digging it.
Yeah, I'm in. Big shout out to the participation. We had a lot of great responses to our request for takes as we do takes on takes, something that we've done for a long time on this podcast. It kind of comes and goes. It'll probably be regular here moving forward. And it's good to get back into it and a lot of fun stuff that people have cooked up for us. Kyle Crabbs, you ready to do it?
Yeah, I have no idea. I saw we get a ton of responses. I tried not to read as many of them as possible so that I would kind of have an authentic reaction to whichever ones you plucked as the takes master.
Yeah, it's the contrast of you and I. You want a live reaction, shoot from the hip, and I want to prepare myself to develop talking points on the items. All right, let's do it. First one comes from Larry, and these are aggressive. A lot of aggressive takes. Larry says,
Vocabulary? You watch that for your kid?
No.
The little talking parrot that does all the eggs and the first words?
Nope. Don't know that one at all. So
Larry.
Right over my head. This Larry says Deshaun Watson comes back and places in the top 5 for MVP votes.
No, I don't think so. They got a great defense. They've got a good skill player around them. If they can get their tackle situation right, I think both starters are still on the PUP for them.
They are.
And they have depth, but I don't think they need him to be that. And I think you probably see them call games that way, right? Like defensively, you don't need to put up, or offensively, you probably don't need Deshaun Watson to throw for 4,500 yards and 32 to 35 touchdowns this season, which is probably what you would see land him in the top 5 of MVP. Do I think he'll have his best chance to be as good as he's been since 2020 in Houston? Yeah. But I don't think he'll land in that stratosphere.
Yeah, I think for him to land in this stratosphere, I think it's fair to say that it's probably now or never. Like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen right now because I do like what's going on with that overall roster. I just haven't seen anything over the last 3 years that suggests that this would be true. So I like the aggressive take. I don't see it. I don't think he gets an MVP vote at all.
Okay.
Next one here comes from Greg, another aggressive one here. The Baltimore Ravens, the number 1 seed from last year, the AFC. Greg says they're going to miss the playoffs.
What has to go wrong for this to happen?
Well, I think the Ravens are such an interesting team because I went into our preparation for the 2024 season thinking a lot about Baltimore and what they lost. And, 3 starters on the offensive line, a lot on defense, their defensive coordinator. Of course, they add Derrick Henry. And I was thinking to myself, you talk about a team in transition. I think Baltimore deserves the same treatment that, honestly, our teams were receiving, the Bills and the Dolphins. And then you do the roster scoring, you're like, man, Baltimore
still scored really well.
Still got a lot here. So I can see the path. I think I can see the path for probably most teams missing the playoffs. I think it's unlikely with Baltimore.
So for Baltimore, I think the pathway starts with defensive regression, right? I mean, you mentioned the offensive line attrition, but their defensive coaching staff got picked over in a way that we haven't seen in a while. I mean, how many assistants are now defensive coordinators, and their defensive coordinators now head coach somewhere else?
Yeah, 3.
So what does the retention of the scheme and the execution of it look like, knowing full well that the vast majority of that group, they ran it back from last year? So do the players have enough power within themselves? Well, they lose Patrick Queen, yes,
Clowney,
but they
right?
still got Roquan Smith and Matt Abweek and this horde of henchmen that they have up front, and Travis Jones and Michael Pierce, and they still have Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams and Brandon Stevens and Marlon Humphrey. And like, how much can you offset all of the coaching loss with players that are all experienced and played in a really high-level scheme? But if they go from being a top 3 defense to being a top 12 defense,
right,
and Joe Burrow plays all season for Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh gets Brandon Ayuk, so magically they go from their floor of 9 wins to what if they win 11 this year, hypothetically. And Cleveland, we just got done singing the praises of that roster. Like, I think that's where you see maybe them, the opportunity for regression, I think.
But Baltimore's one of the 7 that's playing beyond week 17, right?
I would be inclined to think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a path. I think it's unlikely.
Right.
Sam Teets says we will not see a wide receiver traded for a first-round pick for several years. The increasing price for wide receiver extensions and depth of impactful wide receiver talent in the draft every year will lead to smaller trade packages.
Nah.
I'm out on this too, man. Like I think Sam put together something that's interesting, but I almost think like for those reasons, that's why the trades will happen. First of all, I say it all the time. Wide receiver trades happen in the NFL. It's the thing that happens all the time. But you're always going to have an influx of teams with a young quarterback that they need to surround them with known commodities. And I think there's going to be an appetite for them to make those types of trades to make sure that they know that they get a guy, while you simultaneously are going to have a lot of players that teams are willing to move on from because, my God, I don't want to pay him $30 million a season.
Right.
I think it happens all the time.
Yep. I think the body of work of wide receivers being traded for premium assets has transcended this current cap climate and the rookie wage scale, and it happened way before then, right?
Yeah.
So
Joey Galloway,
there's teams who are going to have, like you said, a young quarterback with a lot of cap space, and they want to get somebody that they know exactly what they're getting, and they'll be willing to pay that price. And because of all of the influx, you will see teams that continue to make receivers available. Yep. Like for part of his argument for why they don't get traded for first round picks, I think a lot of those facts make it feasible for elite wide receivers to be made available for acquisition.
Yeah. All right. We disagree with you, Sam. Sorry, dude. Bub says no team in the NFL will sweep their division this year. I did a little research on this. Last year, no team swept their division. But like the last 5 years, 1 or 2 did it. So we go back-to-back years with nobody sweeping. I think the team that could do it, I think Philly could be the team that does it.
Why don't we get into Philly a little bit after the break?
All right, we'll get into Philly after the break. Folks, be sure to stick with us. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers.
What did you read out of this ESPN story about Sirianni and Hurts this week?
I didn't read it.
It didn't sound like a very healthy working relationship last year. A lot of friction has been reported between Sirianni and Jalen Hurts last year. And apparently Nick had a thing at the beginning of training camp where he took accountability for the way the team fell off the bus last year. But there felt like there was, based on the reporting from ESPN, a lot under the surface of like not being on the same page. And I just worry, just bringing in Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore, is Nick going to be hands off now and let Kellen Moore run the offense? And like that fixes that friction that existed last year. How likely do you think that is to just go away?
It's concerning.
And I'm not saying that Philly's not going to be good. I think we think Philly's the best roster in the NFC East, and that should probably have them contending for home playoff games and all that kind of stuff. But it's just as I say here, and you mentioned Philly, like they might be the team that sweeps the division. I think they have a pretty stark advantage against half their division teams, and obviously the rivalry with Dallas, and Dallas got worse, in our opinion, this offseason than what Philadelphia did. But that's an under the hood issue with Philly that I'm just a little mindful of as we get more and more information about what that dynamic was last year for that team.
So does anybody sweep? Are you in? Do you think anybody in the NFC East does it?
Tell me why San Francisco can't sweep. They have owned the Rams in head-to-heads.
Because I don't like I'm concerned about the run defense, and I think the thing the Rams are going to do well is run the ball.
So do you think the Rams are going to be the team that beats the 49ers in a head-to-head this year?
Yeah.
Do you think the Cardinals or Seahawks will?
Maybe the Seahawks. Nobody in the NFC South. Nobody in the NFC North. I don't think anybody in the AFC East. Nobody in the NFC North. Nobody in the AFC South, and maybe the Chiefs, but the Chiefs always like to have their 14-9 loss to some crappy team in their division. I think
we needed the 49ers to sit starters week 18 and a Carson Wentz touchdown run in the fourth quarter for the Rams to beat the 49ers by 1 point for their second win head-to-head against the Rams since 2018.
So you think it happens?
I think the 49ers are the team that does it.
All right. I don't think any team does it.
Okay.
I think I thought the best chance is Philly. BPA Scout says the Bears finish with a higher offensive ranking than they do defensive ranking. The Bears have a rough front four outside of Sweat, and some of their defensive gains last year were made versus backup and rookie quarterbacks.
All right, let's do it this way. Bears, are we doing yards, points?
I would say yards. Don't you feel like when people say total offense? Yeah, I think that's what
my question for you is: the Bears finished top blank in yards offensively.
18.
Bears finished top blank in yards defensively.
15.
So you think the defense will be better?
Yeah.
Even though they play Detroit twice and Green Bay twice.
One of the units has to rank higher.
Yeah.
I think I just have a little more confidence. I mean, I'm talking about a rookie quarterback. I mean, he could be awesome.
With a lot of skill players.
A lot of skill players. I know.
I think I'd buy this take. I'll buy the offense to be ranked higher in yards.
Very good. Casey says the Baltimore Ravens led the NFL in rushing attempts in 2023 with 541. For those who are bad at math, that's about 31 rushing attempts per game. The take is this: 4 teams will eclipse that number in 2024. And he lists the teams: the Ravens, Steelers, Chargers, and Rams.
No.
I like the spirit of the take because I do
like
think
the
that there's
spirit of the
teams that
take,
are going to
too.
want to run the football. And I think the way that some of the shifts are happening defensively and offensively, teams are equipped to do it. But I think that's nuts to think that 4 teams are going to average that many rushing yards per game. Especially because,
like, you told me 2 and it was Baltimore and like one other team, I'd be like, oh, okay. But it's just like, that's just a high volume of teams to surpass last year's highest.
100% agree. And don't you worry a little about, like, if Baltimore has a regression on defense a little bit and team games are a little bit tighter and they have to maybe throw a little bit more, I can see them coming down and not even topping that. So I'm out on this as well. Michael with a unique one here. Michael says golfing correlates to being a high-level quarterback. Teams should take these quarterback prospects out for a round when they have them in for a visit, especially if they have equal grades on the draft board.
Why does it equate to high-level quarterbacking?
Think about the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and if they golf: Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady.
Right. Is that correlation or causation?
Brother,
are they?
And I don't know that are they great golfers at 20 and 21 and 22 when they're getting drafted, or are they NFL quarterbacks that now have, all
different
different lifestyles
and have free time in the months in which you would go golfing and go play golf?
Yeah, you don't hear about the rookie quarterbacks being good golfers. It's all right. It's the established guys. They become good golfers.
Right.
So I can appreciate what you're saying. I think the timing's off a little bit here.
All right. So let me ask you this then. You can do with a rookie on a visit. You can take that player to do anything that's not football related or meetings for a visit to your facility or to your area to visit with you. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to stay in the facility. What would you take them to do?
I recently read something about the reason that this is what they said. And I don't remember if this was like in choosing a partner or hiring. I think it was more of a hiring thing. It's like the reason that you take clients or prospective hires out for dinner is because if they are indecisive on what they're going to order, then they're not going to be like a very good decision maker that can process information quickly.
Interesting.
Like that's the reason that you would take it. Was like, we want to see what your ordering habits are like. Obviously how do you interact with people, the server, that type of stuff. But like, if you're indecisive and you're sitting there like, oh, what are you going to get or whatever? Like, no, like here's the menu, pick something to eat.
Pick something to eat.
Right. So I've recently gained an appreciation of that. And it's made me question a lot of things in my life, to be honest with you, Kyle Crabbs. It'd be kind of fun to
be indecisive though. Don't sit here and question too much, because then you'll be indecisive.
Right. I might take him to like an escape room. Let's do it together.
That's good. Yeah. How do you handle being in a pressure situation with unknown variables,
right?
And
collaborating,
teamwork and collaboration and problem solving skills.
Yeah, I want to see how they respond. Do they take initiative in that moment? Are they kind of leaning on other people to do it? Yeah, I think that'd be what I'd do. Do you have an answer?
I didn't have one before you asked, so I'm going to say probably an escape room is probably what I would.
So you asked me, you put me on the spot.
I don't want to be indecisive. I don't want to be indecisive
right now.
Judged about not being able to pick something. So
careful. I've been out to eat with you many a times. I've never seen you have any issues ordering.
Yeah,
so.
it's going to be the
Caesar salad,
fried chicken, or a salad with some protein, or a seafood thing.
Right. Yeah. That's nice when you can take the menu of maybe 50 items and get it down to 10 and then pick from there.
Right, so. It's like your pre-snap process in line of scrimmage. I get up and what's the leverage here? I'm going to axe these routes off the menu. I'm not going to go to them in the progression, so I can get through my progression faster and find the check down if I have to take it.
All right, let's get one more in before our next break. Adam Stephen Paul, that's the name. The NFL sack record will be broken this year, says Maxx Crosby. Of course, the sack record, 22.5, done by Michael Strahan and TJ Watt.
I want to say yes.
I feel like you've been predicting this for years. Like you had Parsons doing it. Like you've been chomping at the bit for this.
Just the pass rates. So you need to be on a defense with a team that's going to score points offensively, right? Because part of that is the earning the right to rush the passer. Your team has to force teams into situations where they have to throw the ball for 60 minutes.
Not good for Max.
Not good for Max. So I will pass on Maxx Crosby setting the sack record.
Think someone else does it?
No.
You want it bad though. I feel it.
I do. say no.
All right, tons more to get to. Really good stuff, including some rookie wide receiver stuff, more records that could be broken. Folks, be sure to stick with us. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open for the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't even visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. In fact, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. So hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When your schedule is packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when you know what makes you most happy, it's hard to make time for it. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you do is fill out a brief questionnaire. That'll get you matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon.
Do you have the Joe at work take on here?
I don't think I do. Oh, is it the buffalo chicken dip?
Yes.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
Okay.
It's here. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
First and Fins says, while generally the playoff field changes dramatically each year, and despite how stacked the AFC is, the AFC playoff field will only feature one new team this season. Only one.
All right, so it was divisionally Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Texans,
Yep.
Browns,
Yep.
Dolphins,
Yep.
Steelers.
Steelers are falling out, right? Come on, man. Since he's going in,
probably.
Since he's going to knock on the door, the Jets are going to knock on the door.
I think there's enough. I think there's enough here that you would say I'd probably take the over on one.
Jacksonville, Indy. I think you start by saying who's coming out. I mean, the guy earlier, Ravens are coming out.
The margin for error is going to be small because you could win 10 games and miss the playoffs.
Right. I think that will happen. An AFC team's going to win 10 games and not go.
Yeah.
I'll take the over here as well. And thankfully, Fierce and Fins did not ask us to decipher which teams.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We're not going to do anything we don't have to do here. All right, let's get into some rookie wide receiver stuff. This one comes from Michael. Michael says Lad McConkey will be a top 5 rookie wide receiver in every important metric. 5's a big number.
Among rookie receivers?
Yeah, Harrison and Neighbors are going to be
there.
They're going to be there.
Yep.
I worry about Odunze because he's wide receiver 3.
For now,
right? But come on, man. It's DJ Moore and Keenan Allen.
Okay, and Keenan Allen, this durability stuff. Maybe he gets a little more run.
They got running backs and tight ends. Yeah, I don't know, man. Not because I don't like Odunze. I just think he's
in every. So are we defining this as receptions, touchdowns, and yards?
Yeah,
I'll say no.
Because you're going to say receiving touchdowns. He's only going to have 2. Right. That's what you're going to say.
Got greedy by having all 3 categories. He's at 2 out of 3 on my buy, but
in receptions, top 5 in rookie receiver receptions.
Yeah, they need somebody to catch the ball.
Right. And he's such a different skill set than what they have.
Right.
I think that if the point is that Lad McConkey is going to be a productive rookie receiver,
yes.
I think the touchdowns is where it's going to be very difficult for him to slot in there. Pun intended, slot in there. Get that?
Wow.
Yeah, it was so good. August says A.D. Mitchell finishes the 2024 season with more receiving yards than every rookie receiver not named Marvin Harrison Jr.
Say it again.
A.D. Mitchell finishes second in receiving yards behind Marvin Harrison Jr. for rookies, basically.
No.
Neighbors is going to top him, right? You'd be stunned if he didn't.
Malik Neighbors feels like the one that's got all the heat.
Right. And I get AD Mitchell's talented, but is there going to be enough passing attempts in Indy?
Well, to your point, that was the team when we did bold takes. I talked about Indy being a very heavy rushing volume
Right.
rushing offense. So, no, I think there's teams that are going to have a lot of points put on them and need to chase a lot of games. And I think Indy's going to be competitive in a lot of games because they have good defense. Obviously, you feel for Samson Ebukam going down. That hurts them a little bit, but expect them to be good defensively. And as a result, I think they'll pound the rock because it's kind of the DNA of the team already.
Joe at Work's on deck. We're going to get to Jeremy to finish out our receiving stuff. Jeremy says Tyreek Hill will finally break the receiving record this year. Of course, a reminder, that's 1,964 yards by Calvin Johnson in 2012.
He called off the 2K. The question.
I think for a number of reasons, like this won't and shouldn't happen, and that's a good thing for Miami.
Correct.
First of all, they have more depth with their receiving talent than they've had in the Tyreek Hill years, and so that's going to spread the ball around a little bit more, which I think is a good thing. And then like you said, like that emphasis is gone, and I think that's a good thing for Miami.
Yeah, and they invested a lot in the ancillary weapons too, with Odell and Jonnu Smith and another running back in Jalen Wright. So, yeah, they're going to spread the ball around a little bit more.
He's going to be really productive, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be 1965 or higher. So, Joe at Work, Buffalo chicken dip. I'm afraid you're going to like this take. Buffalo chicken dip greater than Buffalo chicken wings.
It can be. Like the best Buffalo. Think of the best Buffalo chicken dip you've ever had and the worst chicken wing you've ever had.
Oh, well, of course, man. I've had some bad wings.
Right. Now, what's harder to screw up?
Chicken wings. Buffalo chicken dip is just hot sauce and cream cheese.
Right, but it's the consistency, it's the volume of the chicken, it's the spiciness of it. There's variables that I think you could screw up Buffalo chicken dip.
That's less likely.
I don't want to have a cream cheese spread that you smattered some chicken in, right? Like I want more chicken than I want the other, like a hearty, it's like a bowl of soup, right? Nobody gets a bowl of soup to have a bunch of broth.
I like that
right?
take. Yeah.
So if you're too much paste and not enough chicken, then I think buffalo chicken dip is useless. But if it's really if it's got a good heat to it, but not too hot, and it's got a lot of actual like chicken meat in it, there would be instances in which I would take buffalo chicken dip over chicken wings.
If those chicken wings are bad, which they could be.
Yeah.
But I think, and they're in their best form. I mean,
okay.
I can't go once a week without eating wings. I can go half a year without having chicken
good
dip.
buffalo chicken dip. Think of good buffalo chicken dip.
Got it.
Out of 10, how bad did the wings have to be before you stop taking the wings? Would you take a 5 out of 10 wing over a 8 out of 10 buffalo chicken dip? Just because it's a wing?
I think I would. Mostly because also there's another variable we haven't gotten into. The chicken dip is great, but now you have another variable. It's what's your vehicle for acquiring the dip?
Celery.
Yeah, give me the wings. Give me the wings.
You get celery with
of course, there's Kyle Crabbs. Everyone else is thinking, am I going to have a Tostito chip? Is it going to be a scoop?
No,
is it going to be pita bread? Is it going to be crackers? Kyle's like, no, celery.
Crunch. It's got a crunch to it.
Amen, brother. All right. Adam says the Detroit Lions will be the first team to clinch their division.
No.
We went through this, and was it the Chiefs were like, this is going to be done.
Might be December 1st.
Might be December 1st. And I mean, Adam, have you been paying attention to the Green Bay Packers and how great of a coach LaFleur is and Jordan Love?
The fact that we even fielded this take is just a great deal of disrespect to our friends in Green Bay.
Unbelievable. Did people not know they have Aaron Jones? And they were the youngest roster in football, and Jordan Love had done all this. They don't have Aaron Jones. Josh Jacobs is what I meant to say.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I meant to say that. Jeff Hafley, 3-4 defense, Rashawn Gary. Are you kidding me? I mean, this could be the first team in league history that has a coach of the year. the MVP, the offensive player of the year, and the defensive player.
There you go. Now you're putting the appropriate amount of respect on our Green Bay Packers.
I mean, is the real question is are the Packers are going to clinch the division? Is it by Thanksgiving potentially?
By week 8, right?
Yeah.
Probably clinch it by week 8.
I don't think you can. I think it has to be. You have to play 9
week 9.
Games. Yeah.
Week 9.
So they'd have to be 9-0, and then the Lions would have to be 0-9, right? So, and the rest of the division would have to be 0-9. So it's going to be a little bit tough, but I think Thanksgiving they'll have it.
I think for sure. Go ahead and pencil them in. It's Sharpie all the way through to the Super Bowl and next year's Super Bowl and the Super Bowl after that. The best.
As long as Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur are there, I mean, geez. Sam says the AFC South returns to being the worst division in football, even behind the NFC South.
No.
Yeah, I really disagree.
I don't know what the ceiling is for all the teams in the AFC South, but they're all going to be competitive teams, it feels like. And I did that with my hot takes. I said the AFC South, everybody's going to be within one game of each other going into week 18. Like I think that could be, they'll win a lot of games against each other, but I also think that their floor is high enough where there's not a lot of easy outs in that division.
Are we sure the NFC East isn't the worst division in football? I know it's a little bit hard because you like to think respectfully of the Eagles and Cowboys, but if you think the Eagles are kind of a good team, you think that the Cowboys are kind of average, and you think that the Commanders and the Giants are like bottom tier teams?
Might not be a bad take.
Right. Like I know
we might have to sit down and sort that one out.
How do you measure it? Is it win percentage at the end of the year? Which division collectively has the lowest win percentage? Might be the East.
Do any of them beat the Packers?
No.
That would be the ultimate measure. Is if you have if
common
anybody in the
record
division can manage to beat the Packers, then
yeah. All right, last one here. Mr. JPEG says Bo Nix. Ready? There's three layers to this. Bo Nix will throw for more yards than Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
Run for more yards than Caleb Williams.
Oh, Lord.
And have more combined touchdowns than Drake May and JJ McCarthy. There, you gotta love it. You know, you live this. What was it 2 a year? Is it 21 or 20?
20.
Okay, and you know I live this with the 18 class. So here it is. You got five.
Bo Nix is going to have more passing yards than Jaden Daniels, more rushing yards than Caleb Williams, and more total touchdowns than Drake May and JJ McCarthy combined.
Why didn't he throw in Michael Penix? He should have put Penix in the
more interceptions than Michael Penix.
Only because Penix ain't going to play. He's going to throw a few. He's going to throw a few. I promise you that.
Then if he threads the needle on this one, all you can do is tip your cap to him. I'll respectfully say no, but I dig what he's putting down.
Bo Nix has got to be the starter in Denver first, right? Jarrett Stidham.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of. Maybe Sean Payton's making him earn it. You know, you never know.
Right. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Locked On NFL Scouting, a week in the books. You can find us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the preseason football that is upon us. We will be back on Monday, probably to talk some of what we saw. You have that to look forward to. So come on back and see us. Have a good one. We're out here.